Hi Virgo, welcome to January 2025 into about the second week of February. Now, the thing to focus on here when we talk about love, first and foremost, is if you're a Virgo rising, you have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces across from you. If you are a natal Virgo sun, you have the energy of Saturn and Neptune pulling on who you are. And Venus joins them. So your relationship life is very intense. Choices need to be made. For some of you, it's, do I want this person around or not? For others, you feel treated like an option. You may even be attracted to somebody who's completely distracted. And that doesn't make any kind of sense to you. But Venus in Pisces is really, really good for you. No matter how you're feeling in the moment, things look up and up and up as the month progresses. Look at this. And all it requires from you is a little bit of discernment. So, Mercury moves into Capricorn, and that Four of Pentacles is a great representation. You may go from Two of Pentacles, Four of Wands is what I meant, sorry. You may go from the Two of Pentacles where you're not really sure, or the person that you're interested in isn't really sure about you, to very quickly now going to the other extreme of, I really want this part of my life more settled. I need to make a decision either way. A lot of you may be saying to yourselves. And that makes sense. Mercury's in Capricorn, Mars is in Cancer. So Mars and Mercury are opposing each other. You want to move forward, very much so. And those of you who are in stable, loving relationships may decide at this time that, maybe a wedding is in order. Perhaps you start talking about kids. But for those of you who are single, you may feel like you're being treated like an option and that there are more people around. That's what that Mars-Mercury opposition, it's someone who's completely distracted with other things. And you've taken their lack of attention and used it to kind of make a story around them of the star energy that they may not necessarily live up to. But the more they don't give you what you want, somehow it raises their value in your eyes, or perhaps just the value of their attention. If you feel stuck in that, there's a couple of things you can think about. It's possible that you may have misread some signals. And it's also possible that they completely gave you that idea that Three of Cups speaks to somebody who lies. So they may have just, I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable, not because it's funny. They may have just told you what you wanted to hear. So those of you who feel jilted or ignored, not chosen at this time, if you're, single, situationship, etc. Or, for some of you who've been married for a long time and put a lot of work into it, Four of Wands, 10 of Wands. If you're just not feeling chosen, and you've made the person not choosing you into a star, I think it's time you turn them into the villain. Those of you who've already turned them into the villain, bravo. Bravo. But the fact remains that it's something that we need to move on from. And your sense of self is, okay, your sense of self is maybe suffering a little bit because of this lack of attention. Could be ghosting, could be, I don't think it's either one of those things though. I think what's really happening is that you may have come across someone who is genuinely occupied with something. Someone, something, work, a person, family, whatever, an adventure, I don't know. And it's intriguing to you, but it can also eat at you. So if you're feeling like that, here's what I want you to think about, because here's the teachable moment for any of us, even if you're not going through that. Why are you still thinking about something that makes you question yourself? Why are you still thinking about someone who makes you question yourself? Why are you in any way entertaining any situation that makes you question yourself? What is it about feeling that way and feeling less than that's so attractive? Because it's not attractive, and 'tis the season. You know, Saturn and Neptune can duke it out in Pisces all they want about what's better, dreams or rules. But Venus has concrete wants, you know? Venus is why the world keeps moving, right? Because people keep, quote unquote, falling in love and propagating the species. Venus is like, can we get past all this and talk about what's really important? This is not someone this person can have children with, or ever have a family with, or ever start a business with, or ever buy a house with, or go traveling with. You couldn't trust this person at the fucking airport, let alone in a foreign country. Why are we entertaining this? And so what may have seemed for the past few months, let's say 6 months, what may have seemed really attractive and ooh, you know, I just want some of their time. Now you're like, this is making me question myself. I don't like this. I feel a lot better about myself than this, I promise. There's a balance that's being restored here with you and how you feel about you. So that's nice. Does that mean you get the attention from this person? I don't think so. It doesn't look like this person is worthy of getting the attention, which is what ultimately Venus is trying to teach you. I think also it might be the type of thing where once the rarity of it stops affecting you, you would actually see that the person or the thing is just not as great as you thought. And then it was a mind game from the beginning, because that's keeping themselves away from you was the only way that you would never figure it out, because you wouldn't have enough time to observe them. When someone treats you like an option, I think one of the most difficult things to come to terms with is that they were always going to treat you like an option. They had already categorized you as that. Or when someone uses you, or, you know, betrays you, or is unfaithful to you, I think the hardest thing to understand about that is that you were put in that category of someone I'm going to cheat on, or someone I'm going to treat as an option, or someone I'll never commit to. You were put in that box the moment you met them. That's the most difficult part to accept, because it means that everything they did from that point on was without any genuine feeling. It was completely insincere. That's kind of terrifying. So again, Venus comes in as uncharacteristically as the voice of reason, but you know Venus is exalted in Pisces. So it comes in and it asks some really good questions. Whether you're married or not, whether you're in a situationship or not, whether you're single or not. Are you still waiting for somebody else to co-sign your self-worth? Because I think, quite frankly, Venus is shocked by this and wants to quickly, over a matter of weeks, rectify this situation, because it does make you bulletproof if you don't need that. A Virgo who doesn't need affirmation is powerful indeed, and in the most delicious of ways. Because once you don't need affirmation, you stop moving in the way that makes people question you. Once you're not looking for anyone to tell you you're amazing, everything that you unconsciously do that other people pick up on that makes us be like, I don't know about Virgos, you stop doing it. It's not something you do consciously, so you can't stop it consciously. It's a byproduct of you still needing some sort of external affirmation. And we all do it. We all have tells. It's not just you. But you particularly, when you stop doing it, because there ain't much else wrong with you, right? When you guys stop doing it, it's like you're hitting it out of the park every time you talk to people. Every time people meet you, they fall in love with you, because once that need is gone, you really are yourself. You'll say whatever the fuck you want. And if you think like, I can still say whatever I want, no, not if you're looking for external validation. No, you can't. You selectively say things that you would want to say, but you're too smart to just be out here saying whatever the fuck if you have a motivation, if you have a motive. But when there's no motive, you're just out here chilling, you're living, you're just being completely yourself. It's so great. And I think one of the painful ways that you get there, one of the painful lessons you have to learn on the way there, is that sometimes you meet someone who is completely full of shit and they tell you whatever they know you want to hear, and they totally play you, and then they never have any real intention of taking you seriously. And it's super, super terrible, because when they keep themselves away, instead of just saying it how it is, it actually makes fondness grow within you, and then we're in sticky territory. So if this doesn't apply obviously to all of you, but if you are in that sticky territory now, rejoice, because you are learning the yucky, mucky lesson of external validation being the ultimate ruse, the kryptonite to your Superman, the lie. And those of you who've already figured this out and you don't edit yourself or change the way you are, regardless of who you're attracted to and who you like or who you are trying to impress, good for you. But if there's still something out there that's making you question yourself, this still applies to you. That good for you was, I was imitating Nicki Minaj. I love the way she says it. Good for you. Now, Mercury in Capricorn is also a bit of a douche. It may make you feel bad about where you're at, where you should be by now. Mercury in Capricorn is kind of a nightmare for Virgos, I've got to say. Because it's like all the shit you don't want to hear from people. You know, like that dreaded thing where someone's like, so what are you doing now? What are you up to these days? You still working that job? Mercury in Capricorn's that guy. It's like your uncle's best friend who tagged along to the fucking whatever. You know, who's like a douche and does nothing but like keeps track of everything you do. Mercury will make you feel like you just haven't done enough. And the only reason that I'm for this, and I think it's positive for you, maybe because I've grown up with so many Capricorns, so I understand Mercury and Capricorn energy very well. I think what you'll find is that there is a strange sort of motivation here. Maybe only motivating to you. If someone asks you in the wrong tone, maybe the right tone, so what have you been up to? Still working that job? On the wrong day, you might take that the wrong way and decide you're going to change your whole life. And you're going to go get a different job. And you're going to go do a different thing. Just so when Larry, your uncle's friend, asks you again what you're doing, you can have a completely different answer. But really, it's just that Larry's scratching at something, right? That Nine of Wands is just, it's giving that like, I could have been a contender, you know? I could have done so much. You're going to have to reinvent yourself if you don't want people asking you that question. And Mercury in Capricorn is that question every day from the 8th to the 28th. And it's irritating and kind of depressing. And 20 days might be enough to motivate you to completely fucking change everything because you just don't like the answer that you have to that question. So it's really nothing external is bothering you. And this is more about work and money than it is about love. But the reason it comes up in the love area is because you're just no good when you're feeling insecure about that aspect of your life. Loved ones can't help you when you feel like shit about where you are in life. No matter how much you love your spouse or your partner or your kids, they can't help you with that, with the way that you feel inside when you feel like you aren't doing it. Mercury in Capricorn may actually push you to do it. And if you were to take the risk and do something different, especially if you're using not even hidden talents, but things you've put away. Not things you don't know you can do, but things for some reason you stopped doing or didn't think you could do well enough. Whatever is in you, Nine of Wands, it wants to express itself. It would be very happy to change your life if you'll let it. And Mercury in Capricorn might push you with those goat horns right into that rebirth. Which we love. We love that for you because it will make you a much better partner. Now, if you're in a situationship and you're super uneasy and you just cannot get a read on the person, and I haven't already bored you like ad nauseum talking about this, you'll find out by the mid-month. You'll have your answer. But once you have the answer, please don't fight it. Please don't fight facts with your feelings. Okay? And also, please remember when you find out mid-month what's going on, that your gut was right a while ago. Please use this as an opportunity to reinforce the relationship between you and your intuition. So next time you can trust it more and you can get out of the situation even sooner. If that's what it ends up being. Okay? Now, for those of you who are like, I don't want to wait until mid-month, I want to know now, whether it's your partner, your spouse, a situationship, whatever. If you are having doubts about that person, here's where I want you to focus, because this is what Venus in Pisces is bringing to the table. How do you really feel? I understand getting caught up in the whole, this person is mine, or I want them to be mine. But if you were to check in with yourself and you didn't know anything about this other person, and you were just to look at yourself, how do you feel? Is this making you feel good? Does it make you feel beautiful? Does it make you feel pretty? Does it make you happy? Is it possible? I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe write it down. Is it possible that you got caught up in some sort of rejection, reverse Uno situation with someone that you don't even really like? Or someone who doesn't make you feel beautiful, loved, wanted, taken care of? Just ask yourself. Because Jupiter is also retrograde. Jupiter, your man's here, is retrograde in Gemini. And it will square Saturn in Pisces. Relationship sector for you, okay? All collaborations are questioned. It's not just who you like, who you love, who you're married to, who you're going out with, who you're doing business with. It's your friends, it's your family. It's everyone that you interact with in a meaningful way. Jupiter retrograde squares Saturn and says, is this about you? Is this how you want to be represented? Is this what you want to say to people when you see them after a long time? Let's do the high school reunion thing, no matter what age you are. It works. Just start to, as of today, and do it until the middle of February, might change your life. Start to amend your behavior, your interests, where you spend time, how you spend time, where you spend money, how you spend money, according to what you would honestly like to be able to say at a high school reunion. Or how you want to look, what you want to say that you do, where you want to say you live. Start creating a persona that just blows the high school reunion away. Everyone's just like, oh my God, you look amazing. You're doing so well. And you can stand there with this huge smile on your face because you're doing what you want to do and you feel really good. And even though you're getting all this validation, you don't fucking need it. So it feels even better. What do you need to do to get there? These are the things that Jupiter retrograde Saturn is interested in. How do you present? Very important. How do you present? And is it what you want? Is it how you want to come across? There's a lot of questions you ask yourself right now. But I think reputation is what it boils down to for you in 2025. Some of you are holding on to grudges where someone has besmirched your reputation somehow, and you'll have to let that go. Some of you are actively fighting to keep your good reputation right now. And some of you are 10 moves ahead of the game and can already see where the issues may arise and are already working pretty much behind the scenes to make sure that those set of circumstances never arise. And maybe that's too easy. Maybe Virgos are always looking out for their reputation and it is really the thing you strive to keep most. clean. Late January especially is a bit problematic in that sense. If you speak to people differently based on how much money they make or who they are, be careful, because it's easy to get caught up and called out. You know, people go viral every day. If you have a tendency to be rude or short with people, it's very possible that you may not just be called out, but also that there may be broader consequences there. Because it's not just you that's examining your relationships and the way you interact with people and what they bring to the table and what it says about you. They're also doing the same. And everybody adores you and wants you around. So if they, for some reason, don't, it's a lot to think about. Don't take it out on yourself. It's not about you. It's about them, but it's a lot to think about. There's no more pretending to make things work. Is also a very strong aspect of Jupiter retrograde. The communication is going to be fierce and it's going to be honest. And somewhere your reputation and not being able to pretend to make it work anymore, they cross. And where they cross is probably your most vulnerable point. I think I've said it before, but if you haven't seen the Danish film, Don't Say a Word, it's like a James McAvoy did a remake as an American film. But the Danish film is so Virgo coded, because it's just like Virgo, like it's very much like, for the sake of the vibe, let it go, 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 until it's like way too late. The movie's genius. Just pretending to make it work, pretending it's okay, and then like suddenly it's really, really not okay. But the way they got there was by just letting these little tiny mistakes go, you know, these awkward moments, they just kept letting them go, the two parents in the film. And then suddenly, just complete disaster strikes. So sacrificing, the reason I bring that film up is because sacrificing the self for the sake of making it work. I mentioned in another Signs video, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was so upset with his wife. And when she finally spoke to him after she knew what he had been doing, he was upset. And he said, I don't understand why you did what you did. And she said, you're a serial killer. And he said, yeah, but we could have made it work. What Virgo hell is that? I don't even know what sign Ted Bundy is, but that's some Virgo coded shit. Like, no. Somewhere your reputation and not being able to pretend to make it work anymore intersects, and there your life must begin anew. Much more honest, much more free, much more healthy and happy for you. And do not discount that in a lot of cases, if you're single or if you're not sure about your status with someone, this pretending to make it work is you pretending that you still want that person or like that person, because you don't. It's just that rejection reverse Uno shit that works on you guys. So keep that in mind. We have a lot more to talk about. A lot more. The notes took me like a day. Yeah, we have a lot more to talk about. We have like 4 or 5 pages of notes more to talk about. The notes took me a long time because your astrology is so dense over the next few weeks. Here are the movie tarot. It's just, this is not an ad. I don't know these people. It's just the major arcana that I took out. There's a whole deck, but I took out the major arcana because I thought it might be cute to do. You know, I love movies. So let's see. And then I'll read to you out of the little pamphlet what the what card, you know, what it says about the card. You know, it's just fun. Whatever. Let's just see. It's cute. You guys are like, okay, great, my reputation, and I can't pretend to make this thing work. Okay, now you want to do movie tarot. All right, fine. It's cute. They do take forever, I will say that. They really take their time. That makes sense. There's a lot of like lore around each one of these cards, you know? A lot of, as my mom would say, energies. Okay, we kind of love that. Bottom of the deck. Strength. That's Sigourney Weaver in Ilion. And here is Forrest Gump as the Fool. I love this for you. Let's read all about it. Let's read it, shall we? Actually, do we need to read it? It's the Fool. Do we need to? We don't need to read the Fool. We know who Forrest Gump is, and we know what the Fool implies. And here, Forrest, well, he has to go off on his own, doesn't he? He has to keep running. He has to keep moving. It saves his life, and then it gets him a college scholarship, and then it gets him fame and fortune, and then, well, he just runs and runs and runs. Constantly reinventing himself, constantly changing, not holding on to any version of who he used to be before. He just changes completely and goes on, and then changes completely and goes on. And the cards right underneath it speak exactly to that. Yes, there is an intersection between not being able to make it work anymore and your reputation, but the Fool is your answer there, right? Your reputation won't suffer just because you change and reinvent yourself and move on. I can see how your reputation would suffer if you never move on. I think you can too. Because if you don't move on from the things that are not good for you, they change you. It's impossible to stay who you are around someone who's constantly making you feel like shit, or not choosing you, or not loving you, or not attending to you, or neglecting you. It changes you, or being unfaithful to you, being abusive to you, whatever it is. You're not just unlikely, it's impossible for you to remain who you are around that sort of sustained abuse, sustained behavior. Moving on from things and reinventing ourselves may not seem like it's good for your reputation. It may be a false belief that you hold that things need to stay steady forever to have a good reputation, but that's not true. That's not true. It's just that the change should be good. Every time Forrest reinvents himself, it's good. Every time he goes and does something different and completely reinvents himself, it's good. He does something great. And that way your reputation won't suffer. It actually will enhance your reputation. Like the I Ching says. Comebacks. A stellar comeback is so much more important than a win. Anyone can win. It can happen to anybody once. A comeback, that belies character, grit, Someone who knows who they are and isn't letting anybody else poke holes in it or dilute it. Forrest never really does stray from who he is, does he? Regardless of who he is, it almost doesn't matter who he is. He just won't stray. But he keeps moving on and he keeps changing. But he remains completely himself. What a wonderful card for you. It fits so well with what you got going on right now. It's such good advice. Hell, I might just go watch the movie. I love that movie, by the way. When that movie introduced me to, you know, I have immigrant parents. Nobody was listening to the fucking Beatles in my house. That movie introduced, the soundtrack to that movie introduced me to a world of music that I didn't know existed. Mainly acid rock. But it changed my life. Let me tell you, it changed my life. The first time I heard Joan Baez sing, ooh, it changed my life. The first time I heard that Buffalo Springfield song changed my DNA. But maybe it's worth a watch. And if you do feel like things are falling apart and you don't want to reinvent and you don't want to do any of this and it's not going to be great. Yes, it will. Yeah, it will. And if things are going great and this is just about expanding and you can't get on the right page with somebody about kids or a house or this or that, maybe both of you ask yourselves, are you happy? How do you really feel? And if you feel the same way, put your foot on the gas. Right? Sometimes Virgos need like a sign from the universe. Let this be your sign from the universe. Put your foot on the fucking gas. Go. If you guys are together, you're together and you love each other and it's all good, then go. You can do this together too, you know. Very possible and a whole lot of fun. All right. Let's talk work and money. There's some like microcosm stuff that I wanted to talk about when it comes to work and like creating these little microcosms of larger work environments. We'll talk about that. And mental and physical health though. Okay, I love you. I'll see you in the extended. Bye.